Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. And of course, this is our weekly head to head. The Pro Chow Chows are back. I'm here with D-Mac, Arik, and we are going to discuss what to do with several players, but this time with a different format. So this should be fun. Let me welcome back my brothers. Hey, Arik. Hey, D-Mac. How are you?
G'day, boys.
Hey, how are you guys?
Yeah, it's been from being a boring week last week. It's now beginning to uh get busier. Unfortunately, the statuses are getting more busier, not the stats. A lot of players being out and a lot of things happening.
Yeah, and I have to say, I hate Raymond. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What was
Such
it
a
obvious? Was it
stupid.
obvious? Was it obvious?
Oh,
Oh man. I have
how
him
many
in
games?
about, I think, four or five teams.
How many games out do you think?
Oh, should be more than five. Because last time it was five. I think it should be more than five this time.
Yeah, I agree. And I
Okay.
think surely a body of work means he also they
You
need to take that
know,
into
you know
account as
what?
well.
I've got him, and I hope that it will be for a long extended period. So I won't need to, I have him in Roto League, so I won't need to think a lot about, if rostering him or not. Let him rotten on my bench, and I prefer it like this because it's the second time that he's ejected in the middle of the game, killing me. The last game, what, he only had 3 rebounds. Now he's got 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. You know what? He's got more than that. Turnovers. He had 3 turnovers. Okay, the stat that he had the most yesterday was turnovers. Okay, so I'll be happy if he'll die. Not die. Die. Finish the season. I don't care. Give him. Let me free me from Draymond and from Jordan Poole as well. If Jordan Poole, okay, something would happen to him, I don't want him to get injured. Okay, I don't want him to get injured. Yeah, but maybe, you know, he'll retire because he'll understand that he's too stupid to play basketball. Okay, so free me from him. I can't drop him because it's Jordan Poole. But I think I'm very close to dropping him. If we had this episode a week from now, and he would have been playing at the same level in the last week, I think I would drop him.
You know what? This within this season, I think he won't play as a Wizards. 100% sure. Because either he gets traded or the Washington Wizards change their name to Virginia something. Because this one was there about to ship name. So I guess she won't
Who
last
will take
as a
him? Who
Wizard.
will take him? Tell me, who will take? His
China.
turnovers. Okay, I've never seen such dumbass turnovers like Jordan Poole's. I never seen a player, okay, who just fumbles the ball so much. It's crazy.
You're hurting D-Max feelings, Eric. Tone it
No,
down.
damn it, no, he was wrong. Nobody, even me, that I was called on Jordan Poole. Nobody thought he would be that bad. Okay, nobody. Okay, even the people. Okay, my partner Hovav, he's in charge on the projections of the app, and he was super cold on Jordan Poole, super cold. He was ranked 94th, something like that, in his projection, in our projection. Okay, and I said to him, move him up. He's very, he and he was he said to me he was very confident that he won't be better, but even he thought he would be ranked 90, something like that. He's about 200. Okay, he's terrible. Okay, man, he kills me. Everybody that picked him.
What's your take, D-Mac? Are you still patient?
I wouldn't drop him. I do have him in the league. I'm not dropping him. It's like we're a quarter of the way through. Look, he's probably not helping. He's definitely hurting your team right now. But there's so much to go of the season. He's a young guy. doesn't want to be there in the first place. So things aren't working very well. But so much has to change at Washington. It's not just him; it's the entire team. It's the coach, it's the
It's the
organization.
coach.
So much
The
going on. So
coach.
there could be some tinkering going on. So the only way is up for this guy. So yep, he's at baseline. He's at bare minimum right now. So many people have dropped him. So many people don't want him or understand that there is value still. So they're not going to drop. So the only way is up. So quarter of the way through the season. Let's see in a few months' time how he goes.
I have a quick.
I'll tell you what's my problem. If I had him in a head-to-head league, I would be all right with it, because I can win with him. Okay, and if he'll finally, fulfill his potential at some point, I'm gaining the player. But in Roto, he's killing me, and I have to bench him at least, because playing him is wasting a game on subpar is understatement. Subpar stats, horrible stats, and in Roto you can't take back the game. You wasted the game. So and I have him in a Roto league. So yes, in head to head it's easier to take the hit if you're handling it.
I completely agree. And you know that even when we had high hopes for him at the start of the season, he was still going to kill your field goal percentage. So you're probably in a punt field goal percentage build anyway. So not to say that he's contributing much else to your team, but you knew what you were going to get into, irrespective of how bad you thought he may be or how good you thought he may be. He was always going to hurt you in that field goal percentage stat or category.
Yeah. But I knew the field goals will get hurt and the turnovers as well. But I wanted the free throws that he doesn't get almost. He almost doesn't get into the line. I thought he would have double his free throw attempts that he have now, and the scoring, the assists, nothing.
Quick question before we move forward to our main agenda. Just very quick. This is a fun question. Who do you think is a better team? Is it the Detroit Pistons or the Washington Wizards?
Oh, Pistons, hands down. You look at that young core. Yeah, they're not performing. Coach is pretty terrible. But you look at that young core, and I'd much rather be a Pistons fan than a Wizards fan right now.
Of course. I want to say something. The Pistons are playing bad and losing, but the Wizards, watching them is a torture. And I know because Danny Avdija is Israeli and is a Washington Wizards players. So here in Israel, we have all the Washington Wizards games live. And I'm, as a fantasy player or fantasy manager, that has a lot of players from about all the teams in the league, because I have 18 leagues, and I have players from Washington watching those games. Okay, so I have my reason, watching stats. But as a basketball game, oh my god, I don't know how this coach has a job still. Okay, the only reason is because they want to lose games. It's the only reason. He's good at losing games, but everything else, they're so not coached. It's such a bad team. Oh my god! And you consider the future, because who you have? Who is your greatest prospect? Avdia, I think. Okay. Oh my god! He's not close to be a star potential. Okay. In the pistol you have Cade. You have you have other players, with future.
Cade, Duran,
What?
Asar, even
Yeah,
Jaden Ivey. Look
Duran.
at that core. It's an
Yes.
amazing core.
Yes.
And one thing about the Washington Wizards, even if they try to win, I don't think they are going to win. Okay, since
Of course not. Of course not. The players are trying. Okay. I think all of them are trying. I think the coach is trying as well. I don't think he has the ability.
yeah, and unfortunately for the fans, they won't get some perks whenever their home team is winning. So, to all of our audience, I guess we had a couple of minutes of therapy. So after releasing our 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 angst and all. Let's start with we're trying to come up with our top five ads, drops, buys, and sales here. So it's a different format. Bear with us. We will try to make things fun. So let's start off with our top five ads. So we're gonna try to come up with our five where we're gonna bump each other's thoughts and let's see what list will what are who are the players that will end up in our top five ads. So let's start off with you, D-Mac. You mentioned earlier you are going you're encouraging us to add two New York Knicks. So let's talk
Yeah,
about
baby.
that.
Yeah, no great surprise. Isaiah Hartenstein to start with. We know that Mitch Robinson's out for 8 to 10 weeks at a minimum. He'll be reevaluated after that period. So Isaiah Hartenstein will benefit. He's coming off the bench, and to be honest, it was Thibs being Thibs. To be honest, it happened last season. Hartenstein didn't set the world on fire last season, but he still will garner the majority of those minutes at the center role. And I think he does have a beautiful fantasy skill set and stat set. We saw just the other day, played the high 20s in terms of minutes. I think at some stage he will regain that starting lineup whilst Mitchell Robinson is sidelined. So once that does happen and he pushes towards the 30-minute, maybe even low 30 minutes, absolute beast for that period. So I think it's a no-brainer. It was a solid ad at the time. When news came that Jericho Sims was going to start, took a bit of a dent, took a bit of a hit to Hartenstein's value, but I still think he's a very solid ad at this stage.
Yeah, totally agree. And this one, the next one that you're gonna talk about is someone that I like more. So you mentioned about Josh Hart, the
I
Hitman.
have to say something. Excuse me for interrupting, but I have to say something about Artenstein.
Yeah, go ahead, Ari.
Small. I think I'm not sure. I'm not preferring him coming off the bench and playing high 20s. Okay, because yes, last season when he started, in the starting five there are a lot of players that have the ball a lot, and he's having less opportunities there. So if he'll come from the bench and still play high 20s minutes, I think I prefer it that way than him becoming a starter. I think he'll have more stats as a sub that plays a starter minutes.
Perhaps interesting take. I'd still rather him start. He's not. His game's not predicated on high usage. You bring those defensive stats, but it is for a big man. He's quite good with the assists as well. So to your point, I
Yeah.
think it may work better in the second unit, but I would still prefer him to start.
Yeah, and well, me, we're on the same boat technically. I am just trying to still observe Tibbs. So last season when this happened, we Hartenstein still provided enough value to be rostered, but there were games that Jericho Sims really did stepped up. I don't think that's gonna happen, but again, let's just really monitor how it works for the New York Knicks, especially that Tibbs is someone that sometimes has some questionable moves. So I don't think Hartenstein or even Sims are players that hey, let's just let him lose. It's still Randall's team in terms of usage. It's still Jalen Brunson's team in terms of how he facilitates the system and also that's the reason why I'm more excited to your next Nick. Talk about Josh Hart.
Yeah, baby. So he again, his game's not predicated on high usage, but you know what he gives you? He gives you out of position rebounds, but he also gives you good defensive stats in terms of his steals. He's going to hit his shots as well. He's not going to hurt you in either of the shooting categories, and his minutes are trending up. And I think with Mitch Robinson sideline, I think that allows him to get those defensive stats even at a greater rate as well. So he's a solid ad. Even in the limited playing time that he's had this season, he's still a top 120 player in terms of 9-cat rankings. So just at that base, a bare minimum, he's been rosterable, he's been serviceable, and now I think I won't say the sky's the limit, but I would predict a top 100 play at least while Mitch Robinson's sidelined.
And a good thing you mentioned about rebounding because um well, I was weirded out that Mitch Robinson really hasn't been rebounding a lot in comparison to how he played during the playoffs. So I was expecting, he's gonna play better this season because I'm pretty sure he was well adjusted to how the New York Knicks play under the Thibodeau. So when the season started, Josh Hart is someone that I thought is going to have a decent year, almost the same, but but he started very very slow. So he's ramping up. Plus, unfortunately, Mitch Robinson is out. So at least rebounding part, I'm pretty sure is going to trend up. Those steals hopefully comes in. It started to comes in, and then combination of some points and some good field goal percentage because his activity is something that I love about his game, and I think it's very important for the New York Knicks, especially that you get big boy Randall really getting or stopping the flow most of the time. Okay. So we have two. Let's just agree. Do we still stick? Well, at least we stick for these two players right now. So let's talk about our third nomination. This one is coming from Arik. You got Norman Powell as an ad.
Yeah, I think I try to not to take, players that was already, hot 4 or 5 days ago. Okay, that's why I didn't say, names like, for example, the second I tell you, didn't say Dante Exum, okay, for example, because he's already, I think in most strong leagues he's already taken. Okay, after the last game for sure, So Norman Powell, we know that Paul George is questionable for next game, and groin pain can take time. He can be out for 1 2 weeks, and we know it's George. He's not the most durable player there is out there. So Norman Powell, I think that as a starter without the usage of George there, it opens up pretty decent minutes and usage for Powell. And Powell, is not the best fantasy player because he doesn't rebound the ball a lot, and he doesn't pass the ball a lot, but he's a is a pretty he has pretty high field goal percentages for scorer. Okay, so he can shoot the ball nicely. He can he can score. He can steal the ball, get to the free throw line. So I think for the time that George is out, Norman Powell is a decent ad.
Yeah, and to be honest, when you watch how the Los Angeles Clippers play, I really like when Norman Powell is on the floor. Again, he has good sense of activity. He is a better shooter than some of their role players. Unfortunately, of course, he won't last long if all of the starters are present. But yeah, I really like this
It,
pick, Ari.
it's only ad for the games that George is out, and of course, if someone else, there's always the possibility that Kawhi will get injured at some point. It's Kawhi. And I think now we're getting to the part of the season. I talked about it last week, that the players that aren't durable, they're starting to get injured now. Okay, if you see Durant now is missing now, going to miss the third or fourth game straight in a row, and now Paul George with his groin pain. So I think now it's a good time, and I'll talk about it later, to try to start selling the high per game players that aren't that durable. Uh, it's about now. About now, it's the time.
Yeah, and I guess we've also kind of like shared that as well last episode, mentioning it, and
Yeah.
again it still stands as of the moment. And speaking of some what they call this controversial acts that we've talked about at the start of the show, one of your ads is from the Golden State Warriors, with an expectation about Draymond's absence. So we have here Super Dario Saric.
I'll tell you the truth. I thought about who is the best ad from Golden State, because I think you can add there about 3 or 4 players. You can put Ziemski, you can add him, put Ziemski, or maybe take a gamble on Kaminga, because Draymond is going to be out. I guess he's going to be suspended. I hope he's going to be suspended for the blow to Norkic. It was, such a strange play. It looks like an animal attacking. It wasn't from the basketball world. It's just like, "Ah," and then punching. It was. I don't know. I hope he'll, and I have him in a lot of leagues. Okay, it's not like I don't have him, but I hope he's going to get suspended for a long time. I don't believe he's going to be suspended for a long time, but I guess it's going to be 3 to 6 games, something like that, in that era. So, and I think that you have the Wiggins that he looks like has been, and Clay that looks bad. So I think they're going to mix things up there. So I chose Saric for the only reason that last time that Draymond missed game, the last suspension, he was great.
Yeah,
He played great. So I guess he can and we see him. We see him. He plays solid basketball now in limited minutes. So if he'll get close to 30 minutes, I think he'll be nice fantasy asset. He
yeah,
can do a lot of things, other than except of blocking shots, that is not that good in it. And the defensive stats department isn't his best, but he's a very high quality free throw percentage player. He shooting the ball nicely from beyond the arc. He can rebound. He can pass the ball. I think he can turn out to be a nice Ed.
yeah. And the start of the season, I remember, I was calling him a bootleg Draymond without the defensive stats, because the way he facilitates is almost replacing Draymond Green. And yeah, so my ads here, you've already mentioned it. I'm gonna go with pods. Uh, just gonna go with Upside, since usually we use our ads as like, our, yeah, possibly the weakest player that we're dropping. So let me go with Upside, just because of his ability to actually get hot. We've seen that in some of the games. Also, I was thinking, he was already providing good amount of rebounds, despite being a shooting guard. So those out of position stats could actually help. And like what Arik mentioned, in the past couple of games wherein Draymond was out, we already know that Saric actually provides value. So I'm pretty sure, if in terms of availability, Saric was picked first before Pad. So to those who wasn't able to pick Saric, I would actually encourage picking Pads here. And then the other ad that I would share would be Kevin Love. I was actually thinking between him and Orlando Robinson, because Bama Debayo, it's just weird. I don't know how long will Bama Debayo be out. I'm not sure. Just let me know, Arik or D-Mac, if you have a specific timeline, but I don't think there are anything online yet. So with that said, when I check what Kevin Love and Orlando Robinson brings, I just thought that in terms of uh expected value, I'm more comfortable expecting stats out of Kevin Love, just because of, well, I was thinking mainly the reason why he moved to the Miami Heat. He was actually asking for more role or playing time when in comparison to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I'm pretty sure he should be ready, right? I understand that Orlando Robinson brings a little bit more defensive stats, but those his ability to rebound and shoot in a streak is something that, as a head-to-head GM, it really entices me. So I chose Kevin Love over Orlando Robinson. But yeah, you can actually choose any of those two if they are available. Okay, so we have 6 players here. Who do you think we kick out in our top 5?
Mm. I like them all, obviously. I like them all. I'm probably not as hot on Kevin Love, to be honest, but also Norman Powell. Not to say that my two are perfect, but my two are very obvious. Um, I like Norman Powell whilst PG's out. So I guess if we get some clarity around PG's timeline, look, if he doesn't miss time, maybe Love over Powell, but it really depends on that the timeline for PG.
Arik, what
Yeah,
about
I
you?
agree. I wouldn't take Powell if you know, if the rooster is full. But Kevin Love, I won't take him. I think that uh, his minutes depend on uh, if Robinson is playing under par, because 2 games ago, uh, not less 3 games ago against Toronto, Robinson was great. He played 33 minutes and is and the team won. Last game, it was a combination of him playing, not that good, and Love on fire. Love can be great, okay, but I don't. It's a really big gamble there, because he can have a 15-minute game. Uh, as well. He has two really, really, really strong games. In the last two are really two strong games, but the last game played only 21 minutes, 21.5 minutes. So I'm afraid to take a player that plays such low minutes, even when he is good. So I think I'm going to uh, to pick Love outside of the top five.
Okay, so
Although
it's
again, if we'll see that George isn't missing games, I'm with Daniel.
gotcha. So
And don't
go
don't
ahead,
forget to
Dave.
mention that Orlando Robinson was in foul trouble, not the last game so much, but the one before that. So that boosted Kevin
And
Love's
before,
playing
yes.
time. And again, these guys don't play the same position, but I'm expecting Tyler Hero to return soonish. I don't know the exact timeline, but I would expect within a week. So that possibly takes away shots from Love as well.
Yeah, he's actually practicing Tyler Hero. So I hope he plays, because I have a lot of Tyler Hero in my league. So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I
me
get
too. I want him back. I need him back. I need him back.
yeah, so I guess we're
Come
kick
back, Tyler. Come back.
VR
Baby, come
hero,
back.
VR hero. So let's let's kick Kevin Love out. So we have our top 5 ads. We're gonna pause it after our episode. Okay, so let's now talk about drops. So let me just share uh my drops. So since I'm the last one who gave my ad picks, let me just be quick about these two. So I have KCP, and then I have Eric Gordon. So I'm talking about standard here, and then maybe shallower. Of course, in any format deeper, I don't suggest, you can still hang on them. They're gonna provide decent ish value, maybe. But in shallower leagues or standard leagues, I don't think they are mass roster. I think you have someone like Saric, you have someone like any replacement for those injured or out players, I'd rather have them just because of the upside. So I know they contribute, I know they give value sometimes, especially KCP. But in terms of upside, I don't see a lot of upside between these two. Well, Eric Gordon might get some upside, knock on the wood, if someone gets hurt in the Phoenix Suns. But I don't like to lean more in terms of the dependency on that. So I'm actually comfortable in dropping these two. I think fifth Eric Gordon is owned like 50% in Yahoo. So I don't well, I just personally don't agree that he is rosterable in standard and shallower leagues. I'd rather have that slot as a streaming slot. Okay, so next one. This one is for D-Mac. You love picking players within the same team. So let's talk about the Golden State Warriors. You have these two as drops.
Yeah, I
Andrew
think Wiggins has
Wiggins and Klay Thompson.
Andrew Wiggins has been a drop for weeks. So again, very obvious, but he's still rusted far too much for my liking. So he's just got to be dropped. There was a period, maybe a couple of games, where he looked like the Wiggins of himself, of old, but he's just so inconsistent. And even if you thought he may turn it around, I think you would get better value in just streaming his spot as opposed to holding on and just hoping he turns it around. So I think he's washed. And then watch on Klay Thompson. He's got the pedigree, and we know that Klay Thompson at his best is definitely a must roster fantasy guy. But the value that we used to get from him in terms of his threes, his points, we're just not seeing. And I think, he's averaging less than 3 threes a game. You can get that off the wire anytime, any stage as well. He's shooting less than 40% from the field, so that's hurting as well. And he's just really inconsistent with his usage and his minutes as well. It's looking like, and I don't think he closed today's game either. It's looking like some of the younger guys, so Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody to a certain extent. You talked about Šarić and Brandon Podziemski. I think they're going to get more of a run moving forward as well. So maybe it's just they need to switch it up because the Golden State Warriors are not flying at the moment.
And just to add on that, if you watch the post-season interview with Steve Kerr, he specifically mentioned that I'd stick with the better players that plays better during that time. So that's his reason why he benched Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins. So let's see if that sticks. You mentioned about Kuminga. Actually, in deep leagues, I like Kuminga. You know why? Because initially, before the season started, I was thinking, hey, CP3 could actually help out Moody or Kuminga or anyone around aside from Klay Thompson or Stephen Curry because he's a good point guard. It hasn't been it has been underwhelming yet, but maybe if you're changed or shifted some rotation, maybe it paves way to that. So let's see if Klay Thompson sticks in our drops because Arik will share his drops. This one I'm one of his drops we've been talking about a couple of weeks ago, and I strongly agree on this one. So Arik, you have one of your favorite drops, Gary Trent Jr., and you have Lou Dort.
Listen, I have to ask. Okay, I have to ask. What people are thinking when they have Trent on their team? What they think is going to contribute? I really don't understand. This player gives you nothing. You're talking about low upside. Oh my God, it's the lowest of the lowest. Okay, it doesn't do anything other than score. Okay, and he scored with a really low efficiency. He's ranked 295th per game. We're talking about Jordan Poole washed and really bad, and Clay washed, but we have here a player that my only problem is with him is that he's got 28% of the manager own him in Yahoo. 28% of the managers. Why why the hell do you need to hold him? You know, he's a scorer that has 10 points per game. You know, his percentages are, vicious. 38.4 percentage from the field, 59.4 percentage from the free throw line. He's killing you in all departments except turning the ball. Okay, it doesn't turn the ball. Okay, it's hard to turn over the ball when you releasing a shot within half a second since you got him. Okay, he doesn't dribble, he doesn't do anything, just shoots the damn ball and doing it poorly. Is I think I if nobody would have hold him, I wouldn't have problem with it. Okay, if I'd seen that he's got 12% ownership by Yao, 10%, but 28%. What the hell? Why? Is he
I,
20 years old and it's a dynasty format? Why should you why do you know I see ownership percentage for young players. I understand that it's dynasty leagues, okay? That they on, like Scoot. Scoot, although he had a very nice left game. But Scoot, I don't think he's rosterable, okay? But I understand that a lot of players play in a dynasty league. He's a must-own player in a dynasty format, okay? Why the hell 28% of managers own Gary Trent? Someone had to explain to me why.
I have a quick assumption, Arik. I guess a quarter of the people that are playing in the Yahoo leagues are living in the past because they might remember, oh, Garrett Trent is a streaky shooter. Maybe he's not just shooting very well. Maybe those steals are coming back. But remember, before that happened, before we were already not expecting that to happen. It's just a coach thing that he gets a lot of minutes and he gets this role that allows him to get a good amount of space to shoot and then opportunity of space to steal. But he has a new coach. It's a different team. And yeah, 200% agree on Ari.
He was definitely a Nick Nurse guy, wasn't he? He was playing there consistently in the
Yes,
30s, definitely in
Yeah.
the 30s. And,
yes.
fantasy saw that. Top 60, even top 50 in the previous season. Yeah, big minutes,
Yes,
a
but
lot of shots.
the shim there, the defensive shim especially was very suited for him. He had a lot of steals. Okay, he had a lot of steals, and they found him. A role where he can shine. He was he's now his shooting is really bad. He's out of form. So it's obvious that it's not the time to pick him, and it's obvious that as a bench player, when he played last season, he played extra 8 minutes. If you compare to now, okay, give me 8 extra 8 minutes, but you know what? Like he's playing now, even 8 extra minutes won't help. But the difference is huge, and I think he's one of those players that has to play big minutes to be restaurable, even when he's good.
Yeah. And what about the 24% that own Ludort, Eric?
I don't need to say the same things again. It does no. Lou Dort is much better. Okay, Lou Dort is much better. Okay, Lou Dort is ranked 145th per game, and he has game that he steals the ball or blocks shots, or he's decent from the free throw line. Okay, but Lou Dort as well. He's a player is so inconsistent that it's crazy. He can have a great game, really great game, and then a lot of people would pick him up and then suck, Okay, and and it doesn't depend on the matchup. There are players. 3 seasons ago, I had how you call him from Bobby Portis. Okay, in a Roto League, I had him three seasons ago, I think. And in Roto League, you have game limit. You need to think about every time you're restoring player. And Bobby Portis, it was really easy. Easy matchup. He's playing well. As a sub, yeah, if someone got hurt, he was great as a starter. But easy matchup, there is playing good. Roster him. Hard matchup, keep him on the bench. And there are players that aren't predictable at all, okay? And Lou Dort is one of them. It depends on the shooting, and he's got a shaky shooting, okay? So he can have a great stretch. He started the season blazing hot, okay? The first 10 games were beautiful, okay? And they gave a better perspective that is a player that, he can be rosterable, but I don't think he can, okay? He's ranked already 145th. I don't see him as a top 150 player, okay? By all means. So I'm sure that at any given moment, you've got better options on the waiver wire.
Yeah, and I think it also, again, this is for me. My assumption is it's another case of remembering his a couple of years ago. But couple of years ago, there's no J Dub, there's no Kayson Wallace, there's no Shet Holmgren. So every time SGA isn't playing well, it's always Ludort who steps up. Now there's more
He was never
options.
that good. His best ranking was
Yeah,
128.
yeah, but the games that he was good are almost all the games that SGA isn't available or
Okay,
SGA
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
playing.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's the only thing that it's weird. It's weird. Me, I always say that Lou Dort is that good example of a player that if a casual NBA fan will talk to a fantasy guy, they're gonna say, "Oh, Lou Dort is a good defensively," and then we agree. But apparently, it doesn't really straightforward translate into fantasy. Why? Because he's a good. Maybe he's a good runner because he covers. He won't let you go far away from him, but in terms of getting a lot of steals, getting a lot of blocks, he doesn't consistently do that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
much
think
better real life player, and
yeah,
the Thunder fans just love him. I think he's key to their success, but he's just not translating into a good fantasy player. Apart from as Arik said, the first 10 games of the season. So Jaden McDaniels, great defensive player, but it doesn't really shine on the
yeah,
box score as well.
yeah. So
Vintage Clay Thompson. He was great defensive player, but had, other than one season that he got great stats, usually in most seasons 0.8 steals, 0.5 blocks, something pretty low for an elite defender.
and he is a self-proclaimed elite defender as well. Every every interviews is been actually saying that. So anyways, who is the player we are going to save, because this is about dropping players. Me personally, I'm gonna save Clay because I'd rather trade him just because of name value instead of dropping him. So yeah, I'm gonna save Clay here. What about you? Because Clay is D-Mac's player. Let me ask Arik, who's the player you got to save? Because we only need
I
five.
agree. I agree. I'm not sure that we are right here, okay? Because Clay could be washed, but I remember him being that bad, almost that bad last season as well. And if Clay gets hot and gets into shooting form, he can have one game with 12 3 points, and even things a little bit. Last season he was horrible in the first month. He was ranked, I think, outside of the top 200 as well last season in the first month. And then, he finished the season with 4.5 3-pointers.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's the case this year, okay? It's not like I think this is the case here, but, we're talking about a lot of bad players, and I think from all of the bad, he's the player with the most chances to turn it around. I think Wiggins is a lost cause. The player I gave, I don't think they have any chance. So I'm with you here.
Gotcha. And D-Mac.
Oh, I agree with you. I've gone for Clay as someone, and he's still rostered in one of my leagues. So I haven't just flatly just dropped him, but he's definitely droppable. And your guys are just complete garbage at the moment. So I'm picking Clay as well.
Yeah.
So all of the names that we mentioned, shout out to Kobe. Let's time to Kobe to the garbage. Okay. Let's talk about buying low. So let's start off again with Arik. Arik, this is a good couple of players. You got here Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris.
Um, I'll start with Toby because it's easier. Toby is in a very big slump. He's ranked 69th now, but his rank is continuously getting lower because he continues to be very bad. Last 2 weeks, he's outside of the top 200. His usage is crazy low. This week, 3 games, 12.1% usage. In comparison to the all season, he's got 19.1% usage. So, and 12.1, it's very low by any standard. Okay, so I I think that he started to turn things around a little bit. He's not as bad as he was last week, but last game was against Washington, so they killed them very fast, and he wasn't part of it. Was you know I don't know if you've seen the game. Washington, their defense looked like Washington Wizard defense, which means that anytime that the Philly wanted to shoot from 3, they shot freely. Okay, so so it's got to a point that it was very big lead with him not shooting that much. But I think that his manager might be frustrated from him, and especially if you're not playing with fantasy savants, people that know the game very well. You can trick them to fool them to think that this is how it's going to look, or that is a top 80, top 90 player and not top 60, and you can take advantage of it. I think that his slump is going to be over in the sooner rather than later, and is going to turn things around again and be effective and useful with normal usage. So I think he's a nice target now.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm just a little bit worried about um well, this shouldn't be like a big thing, but I'm just looking forward if Philly is planning to do another move before end of the season, maybe during the trade deadline, but it's far away. So yeah, other than that,
It might happen, but I hate doing those calculations in team like Philly, in a team like Philly, because it might happen, it might won't happen. Uh, he might be a part of the trade. He might uh, not
not
be
be.
part of the
Yeah.
trade. So meanwhile is good, and I'm not sure that if last season you had Harden there, okay, and last season he was ranked 59th per game, so 58 per game, okay, with lower usage, okay, and lower points, okay, but high efficiency. Okay, so I'm not sure that another player, will kill his value. Okay, we prefer him playing without another player, without another star. But he's one of those players that can be very boring but effective. Okay, even as if he's the fourth player on offense. So I think now is great time to get him for cheap. Okay.
Yeah, and then the other player that you have here is usually a hero to some. This is usually the reason why he is always within the second round in every draft in the past couple of seasons, because he has runs like now wherein he doesn't play a lot, and then when he comes back, he's gonna carry your team. Almost similar to the reality. So we're talking about Jimmy Buckets. I think he's one of your favorite players, Arik, at least in fantasy.
Yeah, I like Jimmy. I like Jimmy. I like Jimmy a lot. How can I don't like him when one of the players who gave me the championship in Josh Loy's uh, league last season. And most of the times, I think people undervalue him. Okay. Meanwhile, in this season, he plays pretty much, but he stinks the floor. Okay, so he's ranked only 39th per game. Okay, and I again, just like Toby, I think he's going to turn it around. I don't know why he's so passive, but he's got this mentality that a lot of times, he gives the other players to play. And he's in a bad shooting form as well from the beginning of the season. He scores only 46.6% from the field, okay, which is really low for a player that, last season scored in 53.9% from the field. And his steals, man, is only 1.1 steals. Okay, so I think it's about the time that people start questioning. Okay, people after almost 30% of the season, people start questioning, and I always repeating on it some truths. Okay, is Butler? Can Jimmy Butler? Is he going to be an elite steals guy? Okay, he only has 1.1 now. Okay, I think it's obvious the answer is yes. Okay, because he's been like that all of his career. What's different? It's not like he's very old now or something like that. Okay, and you can see players like Chris Paul that still has a high steal rate, although he's 38 years old. So I'm not sure that age, makes a real difference here. The minutes here, okay, he's playing more minutes than last season, so he's got the opportunity. Every other stat is looks pretty similar to last season. It falls on steals and efficiency. Okay, so I think both of them are going to get better. Okay, am I sure? No, but I know that if it happens every season, it will probably happen this season as well. So taking a gamble on him and getting him for cheap now, I think is a good idea. And it's Jimmy Butler is pretty hated in the fantasy in the fantasy community. Okay, really undervalued in my opinion. So I think you can get him pretty cheap now.
Yeah, for sure. And again, when buying a player in his caliber, you always think of this logic. Me personally, I usually think of this logic. Uh, is he capable of bringing you a top tier value? If the answer is yes, then you're in a good direction to really buy such player. It's just a matter of them being healthy, or be it's either the shots aren't going, or there's some role issues, or is just out. So yeah, totally agree with Jimmy Butler. Me, some of the players that I listed here, almost the same explanation that Arik mentioned. I have first Trey Murphy. So I just think he's not really shooting very well. He's still ramping up. I think there's still some upside with Trey Murphy's value soon. There's some hidden upside personally for me, just in case. So if you're someone who doesn't believe that Zion will complete the season, maybe that's an incentive for getting TM3. I know it shouldn't be like always part of the equation, but me, I'm just trying to get some opportunity. So I really think TM3 is someone that can do the value that a player like Clay Thompson was is expected to do. So let's see if that works for Trey Murphy. But as of the moment, I'm just seeing him not shooting a lot of snipes and not shooting very well. So and then plus the defensive stats aren't there yet. So I'm expecting that to happen soon enough. I don't think he's gonna get 30 plus minutes, especially when everyone's healthy. But again, um, when was the last time the New Orleans Pelicans were all healthy? So that's just a little bit incentive on my part. And then the other player that I have here is, of course, Nikola Jokic. It's hard to get an opportunity that Nikola Jokic isn't playing really well. So last week is one of his baddest run in terms of percentages. Then he was weirdly, uh, thrown out of the game by a referee. I don't know. It's I wanted to I tweeted something like I really wanted to respect the organization and the refs, but I just think I just don't agree with those kind of call wherein you're throwing out our current MVP in a not so bad foul that whatever they saw and they called some technicals there. But yeah, it was a bad call for me. So with that said, just in case someone is questioning Nikola Jokic ability to provide value, which I think these are few. I just thought that it's a good opportunity because we might not have a lot of opportunities like this. So I'm taking that chance. Now I'm gonna pass it on to D-Mac. So D-Mac, you have what?
Yeah, Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum to start with, superstar from the Celtics. You look at his ranking and go, geez, he's had a pretty disappointing season, but it's not that bad. But 27th for someone that you probably picked in the top six, maybe top seven, uh, is a bit disappointing when you just look at pure numbers and you just look at the usage rate. It has come down with Kristaps Porzingis at the Celtics this season. It's come down a little bit, a couple of percentage points, 2 or 3 percentage points, but that does then lead to less shooting, less points. But also his efficiency has been a little bit off as well, which is unlike him. 1 week, his field goal is really low, which it is in the last 7 days. And then the previous week, his free throw has been off. And then he's thrown in some 8 turnover games as well for those that count those turnovers. So it's just been a little bit erratic. And also, you've got a red hot Derek White at the moment as well. So he's taken a bit more of the load, which is really good. Something somewhat unexpected. But Porzingis, Derek White, has just those guys being hot has led to Jason Tatum not taking a back seat, but just not having to be the man every single night. So I still think it's a buy low opportunity. He is the man in my eyes. He is the alpha. So I think it'll be business as usual. He'll regain that efficiency and then he'll coast into hopefully top 20 value at some stage. So I think that's an easy one for me.
Yeah, I saw that uh earlier that Jalen Brown, was he injured or something, or it's just some status? Because I don't have a lot of Jalen Browns in my leagues. Maybe that's one good way to really start a good momentum for Jason Tatum if somehow Jalen Brown misses time, right?
I haven't seen that update, but yeah, that would definitely help him out. But yeah, I haven't seen that update, Papi.
Yeah, and then you hit it right. I guess KP and Derek White's emergence. But my question there now is how sure are we that this won't last, and what's what's the ideal expectation for Jason Tatum? Maybe that's because I've seen a lot of trades that are really buying Jason Tatum, which I support, but they are buying too low. Like they're offering like middle round players and some trash. So yeah, but then again, I totally agree with Timak in terms of him being the alpha. How about Walker Kessler?
Yeah, Walker Kessler, one of Arik's guys, and I remember one of our preseason shows. I talked about how I wasn't going to take Walker Kessler so high. I thought he was very one-dimensional in his type of game. But you look at his current ranking at the moment; he's close to 100. What is he? Arik, you probably know off by heart, but 91st in 9K, which is really disappointing for someone that came home with so much steam at the end of last season in his rookie year. He's just got he's got the pedigree, and you know that in 9Cat he's going to be able to boost that ranking. He has missed the last game as well, but even before that, he had a run of games where he was coming off the bench behind Omar Yurtseven, which is quite surprising. And I guess maybe they're just playing him into form as well. But he was showing a little bit more. He was playing more minutes. It was trending towards him rejoining that starting crew as well. So I think this is a great buy low opportunity. He's out. He missed the last one. His ranking looks bad, particularly for those that probably picked him up maybe in around the pick 30 to 40 range. So at 91st, I think you can't really go wrong with that one. So I'd be throwing out perhaps even a top 60 guy because I think he will come home hopefully as a top 50 guy moving forward. And I'd love to get Arik's thoughts on it because I'm pretty sure that he's one of your guys.
I'm really, I really agree with you about everything. I think he's going to be a beast. Uh, and I think I'm trying actively to get him in a lot of leagues now. Okay, so I'm totally on board with you. He's actually, if you weren't faster than me and riding faster that he's one of your players, I would have taken him. Okay, and talking about him. So yeah, I'm with you, my guy.
Nice. One of your
Yeah,
guys.
and he
You
has
are
been
my guy, not Kessler. You
We're
are
both
in Team Silver. You're a D-Mac. I pick you.
and Walker Kessler has been in our choices like even since he was injured, right? So several weeks. So I hope you've been following us and try to get some Kesslers. So who do we kick out of this six?
Oh, take us through the options again.
So it's Jason Tatum, Walker Kessler, TM3, Nikola Jokic, and then on Arik's side it's Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris.
Mm. They're all good. I don't know. They're all great buy lows for all different reasons. Maybe with the uncertainty, you sort of brought it up, Papi, with a potential trade at Philly. And I don't know if it happens because they're looking really good. But if a trade does happen, maybe Tobias Harris does suffer and you're not able to buy low. And maybe that's just who he is, particularly if he's no longer the third option. Maybe he's the fourth option. So yeah, a little bit of uncertainty, but I don't know. They're all very good. I still would like to buy low on Tobias Harris.
And, and to be honest, one good thing about buying low about on Tobias Harris, people already undervalue him. So when you say
Mm.
buy low, it's
Yeah,
super cheap.
exactly. The
And
the
also keep in.
default.
Oh, go, Eric.
No. You.
I was just
I'm
going to
talking
say,
enough.
recently, it's pretty unheard of, but Joel Embiid, we know he's a superstar, but for him to have a usage rate of around 40%, that's insane. So I don't know if that's sustainable. So some of that usage has to be spread around a little bit more. Maxi's not getting as much usage as I thought, but I guess you defer to your absolute superstar gun there. But 40% usage rate quite recently for Joel Embiid is just unbelievable and insane. So I think Tobias Harris will get some of that at some stage.
He's trying to be Nikola Jokic. Notice the assist he's been getting. I saw an interviewer and he specifically said that he wants to pass more. He wants to immerse himself. So let's see. Let's see if it sticks. But yeah. How about you, Eric? Who do you want to kick out among these six?
don't know. It's too hard. Maybe Jokic just because I think you need to be really stupid to not understand, okay, how it goes. And I think maybe it would be harder to buy on low on him. But again, you probably can, because so I don't know. The names here were really good, all of them. So it's a what are the other names? What again?
Uh,
You had my
Jason Tatum, and then Walker Kessler, and then Trey Murphy, Nikola Jokic, Jimmy Butler, and
No, all
yeah,
of them are great, man. All of them are great. I don't know who are. I'll take Jokic just because I need to pick someone. But it's great as well, as a buy low now.
there you go,
And,
there you
You
go.
and you'd
you
be
you
surprised. I'm getting a lot of DMs as well, just a few trade questions going, oh, do I take this one for my Jokic? And it's like they're considering giving up Jokic for a 2 for 1 or a 2 for 2, which is really garbage. And, sometimes you just have to get them away from that ledge. Just walk away. Come on, man. You know
yeah, I
what?
Exactly,
maybe no, I don't have a name. Truly, I don't have a name. Because you're right. You're correct. After it's a perfect spot to take him after two bad games, and and the third bad game that was ejections for nothing but ejection. So I think it's a perfect spot now to get him cheap. Everything is considerably cheap, but still cheap. I don't know. I don't have a name. Let's do this
yeah,
six and not five.
yeah. There you go, there you go. But we're gonna talk it out because actually this is the twist. We have to really pick five, but I guess let's give it a pass because this is our best time to do it. But
Well, on that one, I'll ask you guys, what's a buy low for Jokic? If it was a 1 for 1, would you? What's low? What's considered low? Tyrese Maxey, that's too low.
yeah, you should be giving at least. And if I am so let me share a because I was a commissioner in a league that Jokic was involved. So I was telling them that, well, number I can't influence the trade because I'm a commissioner. I'm just trying to explain that. So what's the benefit here? Why do you think what's the reason you're trying to trade Jokic? Then he wanted to upgrade. So, oh, really upgrade? So I was explaining to him
It's
that,
Michael
hey,
Jordan.
in terms of upgrade, so just to be fair, so I won't influence your take on it, but have a look to your team and then just ensure that you're really upgrading because you're trading one Jokic and you're trying to get three, and then one of those three is for me is trash. So if I were Jokic and I'm trading Jokic, my tip there is trade Jokic plus two of your trash because that should be an upgrade. Because you're actually trading your best player plus your worst player, and it's gonna make your team eventually better. Just in case you're getting, I don't know, three top second rounders or three uh almost third round value. It's hard for me to assess, but if you're trading for Jokic, buying low means a second rounder and a third rounder. It's still that high because you can't really get Jokic too low unless is being owned by someone that isn't really experienced. But yeah, if but again, the strategy here, the tip here is every time you trade a top player from your team, I would suggest to include a trash player or the worst player in your team in the package. Because for me, it's you should be sneaky. You're giving up Nikola Jokic, right? So I want it to hurt more. If you're taking Nikola Jokic away from me, let me put in the two worst players that I have. Let me put in Garrett Trent and Andrew Wiggins, and let me get your good guys. But yeah, that's my take on that.
Oh, who would you rather, SGA or Jokic in a 1 for 1? I know we're
Still,
still going to say Jokic, but you would accept that. You wouldn't veto that. Hard commissioner. That's tough that you're vetoing those types of things, even though there's no collusion.
oh, if I'm the commissioner, so still I have a checklist. I'm gonna check. if top players are involved. So in that case, it's a yes. I'm gonna check if who's on top, if the bottom team or the leading team is involved. So that's part of the analysis, and also I have to really understand the benefits. So it should come into the managers because sometimes they're it's just about that. But I give credit for taking opportunities. So I would say yes, I would allow that. If I'm the commissioner and then they both agree, I would allow that trade to push through SGA for Nikola Jokic. But I personally think I'll still take Nikola Jokic over SGA. Okay. So let's have a fire play here. We're almost at our this is the cell. So let me copy D-Mac's approach. Let me get two guys from the same team. I am selling Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier. Yeah, I know Lamelo Ball is out. It's still uncertain, but I think it's not as bad as we're expecting. And actually, Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward is really giving us stats out of their heads. So again, it's about opportunity. Even though with Lamelo or without, you can't, for me, you can't really have more opportunity for Hayward to provide such value he's giving right now, and Terry Rozier give to provide value he's giving right now. So that alone is a good opportunity for me to sell. So I'd sell Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward. And then I think D-Mac, what's your list here?
Yeah, I've got PG-13. So we spoke about him potentially having a bit of time off with groin soreness. Hopefully he doesn't miss any time. It may just be precautionary that he left the game, but I still think that he started the season super, super hot. Harden came in, took a little bit of the heat off, but I guess he's still performing at a high level. So you look at the pure rankings, and he's still a top 20 guy. So I think you make the most of it. It's somewhat unexpected, and he's been relatively healthy for the entire season. So I think now that he's not the youngest guy anymore. There could be some time off. If you still, people may not be up to date with those injury news as well. So if you could make a trade and get yourself perhaps a top 20, top 25 guy, I think you do that. Just with his history as well of staying on the court for an extended period of time. I think, yeah, utilize the fact that he is ranked so high in your traditional rankings and see if you can flip him.
Yeah, and then PG-13. For me, a player like PG-13 for me is always a good sell just because of the name value.
Mm.
Sometimes it's not just about the stats because yeah, like for example, Arik is really good in stats, but in his league, I'm pretty sure that everyone is as good and as passionate as Arik. So they are more leaning on the names or like for example, earlier we talked about why or what is the reason why there's 20+% still owning such player. It's because some GMs has different take in owning a player or their hope for a player or their expectation for a player. So one thing stands, it's all of us are fans. And given that PG-13 is a household name, again, the name value adds more in terms of trading. So totally agree with this. Your next is one of your boys, Ant Simons. He's
Mm,
back.
at least this one hit. This one hit. The Jordan Poole one did not. But Anthony Simons has looked awesome, and he's going to be like I thought would happen with both him and Jordan Poole. He's just shooting the lights out, primary scorer, and I think we talked about him potentially not being the alpha on that team. He looks very much the alpha at this stage. He's definitely taken up some of the slack, but I'm saying that he's a sell high just because look at some of the injuries that the Trailblazers have had. Aiton's missed. I know they don't play the same position, but it's just another body. Aiton has missed. Jeremy Grant's been out with concussion. I think he'll be back for the next game on Thursday. And also Malcolm Brogdon, he's missed time as well. So that's just forced more usage, more minutes poured into guys like Shaden Sharp, even Matisse Thybulle to a lesser extent. Scoot Henderson has looked, as Arik said, looked better in the last one or two games. And of course, Anthony Simons, just an absolute beast. He's just shooting the lights out. top 20 guy at this stage. He hasn't played much, so it's a small sample size, but top 20 guy. Again, those guys that are obsessed with looking at your rankings lists, Yahoo, Basketball Monster, hashtag basketball, whatever it is, they'll see Anthony Simons as a top 20 guy going, wow, let's get me some of that. So see if you can perhaps get some of the buy lows that we spoke about previously. A Tatum who's outside of the top 20 for an Anthony Simons. We all know that that's just not feasible, but you just need one person to believe that.
Yeah, maybe add some kicker. I'm pretty sure. Usually in trades, I would always suggest to add some kicker because it makes it harder. So the moment it gets harder, it kind of like tickles the idea to the GM you're targeting, and again, it's the selling point. And we are the one who talk about Ant Simons, and similar to the Jordan Poole logic, I didn't expect that the Dominaton is as bad as he is in the Portland Blazer. I still have like tiny hope for Aiton. Maybe we can talk about it in our next week when he gets back. Because I was thinking, hey, if he gets better players around him, maybe he gets a little bit better. But yeah, Ant Simons apparently is the man of Portland.
And
Knock
just be
on the
careful with Aiden. You say that he's been bad, and from a fantasy perspective, he's actually been quite good, top 50 guy. But when you watch him, you look at his offensive game, he has been bad. But
no,
we look at rankings, he looks good. He
well,
looks very good, top 50 guy.
I think I'm looking at it as like expectation wise,
Mm.
because me personally, I think he can actually be a top 30 player just because of the opportunity, just because of his arsenal. I was expecting like a 2010 1.5 to 2 blocks. He
Mm.
can do that, especially that he technically should be a number one or number two guy in Portland. But yeah, maybe I was expecting too much, but that happens. We still have a lot of weeks to watch, but totally agree. Ant Simons. It's Ant Simons, guys, right? Because we have two ants in the nickname. There's also Ant Edward. So sometimes they kind of like miss that. And last two names is for Arik. One of my boy, just because he was a previous San Antonio Spur. Derek White, maximum Derek. And then you also have CJ Mack.
Yes. So Derek White, I think that it's correlated with the Tatum buy low. I think that Derek White is having a much higher usage rate that I thought he would have. Okay, at this point, and his percentages are really high. Okay, so now in the last week he's ranked second overall, only 2 games, yeah, but no, 60% from the field. The last 2 weeks, 51.9, season long 48.2 percentage from the field. I don't believe it can stick because he's not that kind of player. Okay, he can shoot, the ball nicely, but I don't think that this it can be that effective. And I think that it's a team where you got the other stars like Tatum, like Brown, like Holiday, that was kind of a star, and Porzingis. So I think the focus will shift a bit from him. Okay, and other players, will have stretches with more usage. And as of now, I think he's about as high as he can be, ranked 36th. I don't view him as a third or fourth round player, maybe fifth, maybe end of fifth. I see him as about top 55 kind of player. And if there's someone that believes his numbers now, you might sell him high. This is my first player. The second player I've picked. Why I picked Remind me because I had
CJ
some
Mac, CJ
options.
McCollum.
Yeah, City McCullough. It's about, it's about the same. I've decided. Listen, I thought to myself, uh, I thought about picking LeBron and Davis again, talking about players that are healthy by now with high per game again. But I'm talking about it a lot. If someone listened to us last week, he heard me saying the same things. So I've decided to go with players that their per game isn't sustainable. And McCollum is one of them. 1.6 steals is crazy high for him. Okay, 0.9 blocks as well. Hopefully not, because I have him in one of my leagues and I need this defensive stat. But I don't see it as something that he can sustain. Other than that, most of the other stats look normal. Okay, so I think he can hold the 3 pointers, but the defensive stats are totally inflated, and his free throw percentages might drop as well because the last 2 seasons they were much lower. But he was a 80 plus percentage player from the free throw, so he may maintain the percentages. So if you're taking the defensive stats to a normal, normal numbers, he should drop to about top 50, top 60. If you He's now ranked 18th. Again, unexperienced players, if you can offer him you to off to sell him for top 30, top 40 player, I would be happy to get top 40 player for him. Okay, happily,
Yeah, and for
with no
me,
hesitation.
if you're someone who isn't comfortable with the news and the health of CJ Mack with regards to his lungs, I would say it's also a good time for you to sell now. I always say this. S- it's in fantasy. There's you should always recognize opportunity, and then you always test the water, because sometimes you're just assuming it, but the other GMs aren't looking at it that way. So just don't sell too high or buy too low. Just be decent, and then I'm pretty sure you can come up with trades by using these players that we've listed in terms of buying low and selling high. So with that said, is there anyone you want to kick out of our list? So I have mine, Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward. You have um CJ Mack and Derek White, and then D-Mac has Ant Simons, and who's the other one? D-Mac,
Uh, and Simons and Paul George.
Paul George. Okay, is there anyone you want to? It doesn't mean it's not right. It's more of like we're just limiting it to five.
All of them good. All of them good. It's hard to pick. Maybe I'll take George because he's injured now. So maybe people would be hesitant at this exact point of time to trade for him, but other than that, is one of the best names to sell high now. So it's hard.
Yeah. So me too. Same sentiments with Arik. Possibly just the timing. How about you, D-Mac?
Yeah, you've probably convinced me. Paul George is just one of those iffy ones at the moment. He's still going to be a really solid player rest of the season. But it's just going to be difficult if people do look at that injury status. But he's questionable for the next game, so maybe someone's not scared off by that questionable tag. But yeah, let's go PG.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So at least this type of twist, just let us know if you like it, because we're kind of like really pushing each other's brain cells in terms of coming up with the top five. So we'll keep
But
pushing each
again,
other.
The
Yeah, go ahead, Ari.
second that is not questionable, I think is the best name here. Okay, so you know,
Yeah, like this is something that I shared last week, and then Arik mentioned earlier. If you're not comfortable, if you don't believe in several names, several big names that are usually injured, guys, now is the right time. Bank uh, withdraw and cash out while they're healthy. It's more of like if they withstand and they still play, totally fine because you're getting almost the same value, right? It's more of like you're getting the same value plus a little more plus insurance or assurance in comparison to a player that is usually injury prone and plus peace of mind, I guess. So if you value that, then you have to really try and do some move some transactions in your leagues. Okay. So I guess this is a trial episode. So let us know if you like this one. And then I have here D-Mac who has been very busy doing his episodes with Kayla. Anything you want to promote?
No, just catch us between two hoops fantasy show. So NBA Fantasy Bible and Kayla_Fonte. Give her a follow as well. So yeah, real up and comer in our industry, which is great to see, and it's good to see some female representation as well.
There you go. Uh, tell Kayla that starting next week, I'm gonna do special episodes for FBPH. So I'm gonna pull in one with her and one with you. So let's think about a certain topic to really discuss. And speaking of specialty, I'm gonna lock in Arik to talk about rotisserie format, and also let's get technical with Arik. Let's have a two-part episode with Arik. I want to learn more about those Z stats. I want to learn more how they come up with their app. And speaking of their app, Arik, it's time for you to promote your amazing app.
thank you. So first of all, you can find me and us because I'm part of a duo. Sorry, we're called Day2D Fantasy. We're on Twitter, X, which was formerly known as Twitter, and we have our app, Day2D Fantasy NBA, which what we're doing there is what we did this episode, giving their buy low, not buy low, sorry, pick up advice, drop advice, with their projection, rest of season projections, and two other features to help you to manage your team during the week. So you can download it free on Apple or Android, and that's all.
There you go. And by the way, Arik, I saw that you're cleanly shaved today. So big props
Yeah.
to your new look. Looking very young. Looks like 26 or something.
Okay, yeah. Without the glasses, younger.
There you go. So guys, again, follow us three. We are the Dribro Jajos. H3H is out. Happy weekend. See you next week. Bye guys.
Of course. See ya.